Merry Christmas, friends. The first thing I do when I wake up is look at my phone to see what time it is. I remember a few years back, I glanced at my phone when I awoke through blurry eyes, and first I saw that it was 7 degrees, which didn't make me happy about getting out from under the covers. Then I saw I'd received a text message in the middle of the night while I'd been sleeping, attached to a phone number, not a name. It said, "God morning," and I'm sure the texter meant good morning. You know how difficult it is to text correctly sometimes. God morning. Hope you slept well. Have a great day. Loving you deeply. That was one great text message. I walked around feeling loved all day. No idea who sent it. The message was a message intended for someone else, or maybe not. Perhaps it was God's way of reminding me that I was loved. I could have texted the person back to say, "Thanks, you too, and who are you again?" But I didn't really want to know who it was. I wanted to believe that I was the one being loved anonymously and deeply. The birth of Jesus so long ago was a not-so-anonymous message sent to the world by God. Of course, it was not the first time God had sent a message to his people, and this message certainly wasn't out of the blue. This message, sent to the world with the arrival of Jesus, was what God had wanted people to know for generations. Everyone who had been paying attention to the prophets should have expected Jesus' birth. Unlike my anonymous texter, the birth of God's Son tells us everything about the one who sent him. God is accessible and present and crying loudly for all to hear. You are mine, and I send you my Son because I love you deeply. This is a God not afraid to offer love, even facing the possibility of being rejected. God is just as present and active now as God was when imagining and shaping the world we live in, or when he led the children of Israel to freedom through the wilderness with a pillar of fire by night and a column of smoke by day. The gift of Jesus we receive at Christmas is God's way of saying to the whole world, loving you deeply. Tonight, the birth of a child born to bring wholeness and light into the world sends a message that we can hold in our hearts as Mary did, a message that grows in us with each Christmas Eve, like a child grows, a message we can forward to others. Because God became one of us in the birth of Jesus, we have become bearers also of God's message of love. The world looks to us to hear God's voice, to see God's loving care, to feel God's healing embrace. This message surely warms our hearts, but also must bless those with whom we share God's creation. As we study the life that Jesus lived and the death he died, his teachings, and as we learn about his relationships, God's message of love grows in us. Sick people, be healed. God loves you deeply. People who have died inside, be alive. God loves you deeply. Forgiven people, be free. God loves you deeply. We all need to hear this message over and over again, a message that God never tires of sending. You, my friends, are loved deeply. A blessed Christmas to you all.